Okay, so this video is going to talk about all of the possible classes in Outward, and I'm going to go to every city and show you each trainer there and all of the skills that that trainer offers. Now you can be every single class in Outward as long as you have the money to buy all of the skills. However, you can't really be a full-out mage and also be a full-out tank. You kind of have to either go all-out magic or all-out physical or have a nice little blend. If you end up going full-out mage and speccing a lot of points into mana, every point you spec into mana you lose in health and stamina, and this cannot be reversed. So you kind of have to make a decision whether you want to just kind of dabble into both sides, or if you want to go all-out mage or all-out physical. And if you go all-out tank, you only put a couple points into mana. If you go all-out mage, then you want to put more points into mana, but you're not going to be as good at doing more tank-like up-close abilities. Okay, so we're starting in the furthest city away from the starting town called Levant. And I'm going to run up to both of the trainers here. We have a Mercenary Trainer and a Rogue Trainer here. I will show you guys on the map right now and mark them in red. Right over here, if you look for the little cap and gown, is the Mercenary Trainer, and over in the slums over here is the Rogue Trainer. So let's go to the Mercenary Trainer first. Okay, so up here is Shaman, the Mercenary Trainer.
What can I do?
Being a mercenary means hardship, from fighting monsters to wearing damn full plate in the desert. It also means freedom and profit. Okay, let's see what he offers. This guy is more about pistol techniques and kind of movement speed. So starting over here on the left, this requires a pistol and iron scraps. Load a bullet with high impact, which also inflicts pain. Shooting it requires the use of the fire reload skill, which you should have. It's called Shatter Bullet. The next ability is called Frost Bullet. Requires a pistol and a cool boon, which is a kind of a spell you get at the mana mountain called Mount Complex. Load the pistol with a bullet that makes a short distance blast, which slows enemies, removes your cool boon. Shooting it requires the use of the fire reload skill. Okay, so those are those two attacks. Now let's look at the more passive skills. We got fast maintenance. You repair your equipment 50% faster when you allocate time to repairing in the rest of the menu. We got armor training. Decrease the stamina and movement penalties from wearing armor by 50%. That's pretty sweet. Then up here on the top half, we got Swift Foot. Your movement speed is increased by 10%. Up here we got Marathoner. Sprinting consumes 40% less stamina. And at the very top, we have Blood Bullet, which sounds really cool. It requires a pistol, a possessed boon, which I'm not sure how to get yet, which absorbs the enemy's life into your pistol as a blood bullet, healing yourself. Shooting it requires to use the fire reload skill. So that's kind of cool. It's like a heal using your pistol. And then next to that is Shield Infusion. This actually requires a shield. That's the only ability that requires a shield in this tree. And what you do is block an elemental attack. When you next block, an elemental explosion will burst from you. So that's basically it for the Mercenary Trainer. Some cool abilities in there. Let's go check out Styx the Rogue. Okay, so here's Styx the Rogue. Being a rogue is more focused on daggers and dodging. So let's see what he has to say.
What can I do for you?
Empty your mind, be formless like Shadow. Shadow can take any form and overcome any army. Be smart, be Shadow, my friend. Okay, so the first ability here is Backstab, which requires a dagger. Dagger attack. If the attack hits the enemy's back, the damage and impact are tripled. That's pretty sweet. Then we got the Opportunist Stab, which requires a dagger. Dagger attack. If the enemy has the Pain or Confusion hex, this attack's damage and knockback are doubled. If it has both, they are quadrupled instead. So if you can find a way to inflict pain or confusion to your enemy, that's going to be pretty powerful. And then following it up, you got Serpent's Parry, which is also requiring a dagger. So you counter a physical attack with a strong dagger strike. Targets afflicted by confusion are briefly stunned. Targets afflicted by pain will be inflicted extreme bleeding. So you have to also inflict a certain status effect on your enemy to get the full effect out of that ability. Then down over here we got Sweep Kick, a weak attack with a wide arc. High impact will knock down a target afflicted by the confusion status effect. Okay, now the passive skills are Pressure Plate Training. Enables you to deploy the complex pressure plate traps. These traps are primarily armed with charges which shoot poison, fire, and more. Okay. Feather Dodge lowers the stamina cost of dodging by 50% and allows you to dodge unimpeded even when wearing a backpack. So some of these skills, even if you don't want to do dagger attacks, you're going to want to come over to the trainers and invest in them. Like the Feather Dodge is a great skill for anybody to have right there. And at the very top, we got Stealth Training. Enemies will have a harder time spotting you. Sprinting and having Light Source will still easily alert them though. Okay. Pressure Plate Expertise. Increase the power of your pressure plate traps. Allows the reuse of pressure plates after they have been triggered, though they must be rearmed with another charge or compatible item. Okay, so he's all about daggers, traps, and dodging. That's it for the city of Levant. Now we're going to head over to Berg. It's kind of a long journey, so I'm going to cut the video, and I will see you guys in Berg. Okay, we have arrived at the city of Berg, and there are 2 classes here as well. If we take a look at the map, down here in the corner we have the Hunter Trainer, and up here we have the Sage Trainer. So the door that I came in, the Hunter Trainer, is really close, so let's go talk to him.
What can I do?
You want to learn how to hunt? I'll teach you how to be a predator. Okay, so at the bottom, a lot of these skills are going to require a bow and a melee weapon for this class. Obviously, that's what the hunter usually is. So the first skill is an evasion shot. Requires a bow. Shoot an arrow while jumping backwards. Causes the cripple status effect on the target. Locking on foes is essential with this skill. Next to that, we have Enrage. Grants the Rage boon, which increases the impact of attacks. Using this skill burns a bit of your maximum health until the next time you sleep. Certain skills require this boon to be active. Okay, next to that we have a passive skill of the Hunter's Eye. You can lock on enemies at longer distances when using a bow. Definitely going to need that if you're going to use a bow. Sniper Shot requires a bow. Let loose a very strong arrow shot with a long windup, making it a poor option in the middle of combat, so a slow, powerful attack. Now the middle passive skill here is increases your maximum health by 40, called Survivor's Resilience. So everybody's going to want that no matter what class you are. And now the final 3 are Predator Leap. I remember this in the tutorial. Requires the Rage boon and a melee weapon. Jumping attack that creates a shockwave upon landing with high impact and damage. Requires Rage boon. Next to that we have the Piercing Shot. Requires a bow. Strong shot that goes through enemies and hits other foes behind. Inflicts extreme bleeding. And the final skill on the top is called Feral Strikes. Requires a melee weapon as well as the Rage boon. Attack twice, consuming your Rage boon in the process. Inflicts extreme bleeding and pain. I'm sure that's pretty powerful. Now let's head over to the Sage Trainer, who does rune magic. Okay, so here's the Sage Trainer. Runic magic is versatile and intricate, letting you summon weapons, place arcane traps on the ground, and far more. Okay, so at the bottom here we have basically the 4 color of runes right here, and none of them do anything on their own. You have to cast them in a combo with another color, and you would have to play around with that or watch another guide to find someone who knows exactly how to do that. This is a very cool looking class though. So the first rune is the Shim rune. Then you got Dez, Egoth, and Fal. Now the top passive skills are Well of Mana, which increases your maximum mana by 40, another skill that most people are going to want to have if you have any magic at all. Arcane Syntax, gain access to more advanced runic combos. That basically gives you more abilities on top of the base 4 that you get right there, more combos that you can do. The top passive ability is Internalized Lexicon. Removes the need to have an equipped lexicon in your offhand to cast runic spells. You no longer need the book in your offhand. You can now put something else there, like another weapon or anything actually. And the last final one is a Runic Prefix. All runic spells are more powerful or have added effects. So that's it. This is a really cool class. So that's basically it for Berg. And now we're going to head to the marshlands and the city there. Okay, so now we are at the city of Monsoon, the coolest looking city of them all. And if we look at the map, we have 2 trainers over here on the east end, the Monk Trainer and the Philosopher Trainer. So let's go up to them right now. Okay, so the first class here is the Philosopher Trainer, and she teaches chakram magic. A chakram is like a metal disc thing that you like fling at people, and she teaches fire and ice type things. So let's have a look.
Greetings, friend.
Are you here to learn the art of magic or philosophy from me? Okay, let's go. I want to train with you. Okay, so at the bottom, up the left side, we have the chakram attacks. So the first one is called Chakram Pierce, and it requires a chakram, which you can buy, and the Discipline boon. Launch the disc forward, possibly hitting the enemy twice. Discipline is required to cast the spell. And above that, we have the Chakram Arc. Requires a chakram and the Discipline boon. The disc sweeps the area in front of the caster, dealing high damage and impact. Discipline is required to cast a spell. Okay, so it sounds like an AoE attack. That's pretty cool. And the top one is the Chakram Dance. Requires a chakram and the Discipline boon as well. The disc sways left and right as it advances, hitting multiple times and dealing high damage. Discipline is required to cast a spell. So this is pretty cool. I might actually look into this tree. Okay, so now on the right here we have the Sigil of Fire. It consumes 1 firestone. You create a magical circle on the ground. Certain skills have additional effects when cast within this circle. So like if you have your Spark Spell, you have the basic Spark Spell and you cast it inside the Sigil of Fire, it'll probably cast like a fireball or something. Okay, next to this is a Mana Ward. Envelops you in mana, and for an instant you become immune to damage. It's pretty cool. Good tanking effect. Can be combined with other spells for powerful effects. So there's these combinations going on with these skills that you have to invest in these trees and try them out to figure out. Okay, the middle passive ability is Leyline Connection. You regain 0.15 mana per second. This is a constant effect. So if you become any class that uses mana, you're going to want to have that passive even if you don't use this Philosopher skills. Okay, and at the very top we have the Sigil of Ice. Consumes 1 cold stone. Creates a magic circle on the ground. Certain skills have additional effects when cast within this circle. Okay. And the passive ability of Fire Affinity. Increase your resistance to fire by 20, and the fire damage you inflict is increased by 15%. Alright, interesting class with a lot of different types of skills in there. And now directly across in the Philosopher Trainer is our Warrior Monk Trainer.
Hey there.
Let's have a look. Patience and fearlessness allows you to win against an enemy, but honed techniques help you too. So this trainer is going to be melee attacks and specialize in resistances. So let's have a look. Okay, at the bottom we have Focus. Grants the Discipline boon, which increases the physical damage of your attacks. Using this skill burns a bit of your maximum stamina until the next time you sleep. Certain skills require this boon to be active. Okay, so that's going to be a base boon, and I'm guessing some of the skills above are going to require you to have Focus, or to use Focus. Next to this we have Brace. Blocks an enemy's attack, restoring your stability and giving you the Discipline boon. All nearby enemies are knocked back. Okay. The passive ability of Slow Metabolism. It takes more time for you to become hungry, thirsty, and sleepy. Nice to have. Everybody should probably have that. In the middle we have Steadfast Ascetic. Yes, Ascetic, sure. Increase your maximum stamina by 40. Everybody's going to want that regardless of what class you are. Master of Motion is the other passive. While under the effect of Discipline boon, impact resistance and all damage resistances are increased by 15. Now the 3 abilities up here are Perfect Strike. Requires any melee weapon, any type. Discipline boon. Lunging attack that ignores all defenses and inflicts pain. Okay. Flash Onslaught. Requires any melee weapon as well as a Discipline boon. Attack all enemies within a close distance with increased damage and impact. Using the skill consumes the Discipline boon. And the final skill is Counter Strike. Requires any melee weapon. Completely block a physical attack, striking the attacker and dealing high damage. Okay, so that's it for the 2 classes in this city. So now I'm going to go check the other city on the map inside the marshes. I'm not sure if there's a class trainer over there. I don't think there is, but I'm going to check it real fast and then head back to the starting area to see the final 2 classes offered in Outward at this time. For the final 2 classes, it's been a long stream trying to travel to all the lands, but we're getting the job done. Where the fuck do I go? This way? Oh, we're headed east. Oh shit. Why are we headed east? No. We went the wrong way. Be there, he's gonna screw up my whole video. Only took 4 hours. I have 0 travel rations. Okay, so we just cleared our way through the fort here. You can run through it if you want to. It's kind of confusing. You gotta pull a bunch of levers and then you come out and go through a door and you exit out to this path up here. And we are headed to the Cabal Wind Tower to find the Shaman Trainer. Okay, so we have found the Shaman Trainer. Let's go see what he offers.
Excellent.
A visitor. The Cabal shares its wisdom with those who respect the 5 winds: reason, passion, fury, kindness, and the inside wind.
Listen to me.
To use the spells I teach, find the wind totems in every region, then you may use these spells in that region. The totems are topped by a bird statue. You'll recognize them. Interesting. Okay, so at the bottom here we have Reveal Soul, which you could have gotten at Mount Conflux if you chose that. Reveal the bluish soul orb left by deceased thieves and adventurers. Certain spells must be cast in proximity to a soul. Next to that we have Call to Elements. Grants you a boon that varies according to your location when casting this spell. Mana Push. Spell which inflicts no damage but has high impact in a wide area in front of the caster. Can be combined with other spells for powerful effects. For the passive ability we have Weather Tolerance. Increase your hot and cold weather defense by 8. Increase your decay resistance by 5. Shamanic Resonance. The effects of boons on you are increased. For example, a boon that increases your fire resistance by 20 would increase it by 30 instead. And at the top, we have Sigil of Wind. Required activated wind altar. Create a magic circle on the ground. Certain skills have additional effects when cast within the circle. Infuse Wind, which requires the activated wind altar as well. Increases the impact and attack speed of your melee weapon for 3 minutes. Your stamina burn increases more quickly, however. A little trade-off. And the final skill is Conjure, spell which does nothing on its own but can be combined with other abilities. So that must be, I'm guessing, when you summon spirits to fight with you, is what I'm guessing. Kind of like necromancy. And that's it for the Shaman. It's a little bit confusing, but I'll probably invest some skills in it and try to figure it out. Let's go find the final class, the Spellblade. Okay, after a long day of traveling to all of the cities and forgetting rations to get into other zones, we have made it back to the starting town of Sierzo for the final class available in Outward, the Spellblade. Let's talk to this guy and see what he's got.
Amber, my friend.
Okay, the first skill available in the bottom left is called Steady Arm. Increase impact resistance by 15 while you are blocking. Good skill to get, and it's cheap, only 50 silver. To the right of it is Fitness. Increase your maximum health by 25 and the amount of health you restore while sleeping by 20%. That's a skill everybody should get in the start of the game. Once you get 50 silver, you might as well just buy it, even if you don't want to go all the way up the skill tree. Okay, right here we have Shield Charge. Requires a shield. Rush forward to hit foes with your shield for high impact. Can hit the target twice and inflict the Confusion status effect. Right here in the middle, we have the Spellblade's Awakening. Increase your maximum health, stamina, and mana by 15 each. So that's another skill that everybody's going to want to get regardless of what you play. At the top, we have Infuse Fire. Requires a Warm boon. Temporarily adds fire damage to your melee weapon and inflicts burning on enemies. Consumes your Warm boon. Next to that, Infused Frost. Requires the Cool boon. Temporarily adds frost damage to your melee weapon and inflicts slowdown on enemies. Consumes your Cool boon. In the top two, Elemental Discharge. Requires an infused weapon, so you have to use one of these other skills, I guess, and add something to your weapon before you use this, or you go ahead and use a rag and coat your weapon with some type of elemental property. So this one requires the infused weapon. You shoot a projectile of the element that is infused on your weapon. So if you have a sword and you put fire on it with a rag, you'll probably shoot fire. I haven't used the ability yet, but that's what it sounds like to me. And the final skill is the Gong Strike. Requires an infused weapon as well as a shield. Strike your weapon on your shield, removing the elemental infusion to make an explosion of that element. So that would be pretty cool to see. So that's it. Those are the 6 classes, actually the 8 classes in Outward.